Hello and
Hey!
welcome. Yeah, we did it. We got it through a week. Hello and welcome to Up at Noon Live. I'm Brian Altano. With me is Max Scoville. Up at Noon or Up at Noon Live at 5 is your weekly pop culture variety show right here on IGN.com, YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, everywhere else you get your stuff. We had a fantastic, busy, crazy week. Max, how are you feeling about this?
I'm feeling great because I hopefully don't freeze up every 5 seconds this episode. I might jinx
That's
it
right.
by
We
saying
actually
that, but we did a tech
you can
rehearsal. I
always
think it's
sit
going to work.
perfectly still. We retired Wax Scoville, who was there last week. That's really good. Oh wow,
I
that's
remember Wax
really
Scoville
good.
was the nickname that Sunday school bullies tried to give me. But
Oh
like
really?
they're like Sunday school bullies aren't good. They're not good at that. Like first of all, if you're like, it's just not a good insult to be like Wax Scoville.
No, it's regular school bullies though.
No,
That's the
they would just call me words I can't say on the show, and then I felt actually bad about myself. And I'm like, "What's wrong with wax? That's fine. It's what they make candles out of. That's great."
Speaking of being young and being bullied, a group of people that have been bullied for many decades now are mutants, and mutants have been bullied all throughout their history in X-Men and beyond. And we actually got some news of the New Mutants, which is the X-Men movie spinoff, once sort of run by Fox, which is now owned by Disney. Finally got its, I believe, fifth release date. Is that correct?
That is the fifth release date to date. We're actually going to do a quick rundown of all of those release dates and try to figure out which ones are our favorites, if that's really a thing you can even do. Just for context,
Right.
This movie started filming in 2017, and it was originally supposed to come out in 2018, and it still has not come out. So let's take a look at these release dates. I got a nice little. We got like a hit. Let's take a trip down memory lane.
Yeah, so here at IGN, we're legally
Yeah.
required to rank literally everything. So we thought we'd do a quick rundown of the top 5 release dates for the New Mutants. And yes, there's been 5 of them. All right, let's kick it off, Max.
All right, so the number 1 or number 5, we're doing them in chronological order because they're all release dates, and none of them are even that exciting. It's not like any of them were like Christmas. They're all kind of like April, August, thereabouts. Anyway, April 13th, 2018. Who could forget such a memorable date in such a great month of a year that I kind of remember? But anyway, that's when the New Mutants was originally going to come out. We were all going to find out what they were up to. Cannonball, the Wolf Lady, magic. What could happen in this new chapter of the X-Men universe? Well, it didn't come out for reasons I'm still sort of unclear about. I think it was either reshoots or because of the Fox Disney merger or because they were shuffling around other release dates. But in any case, we soon got a better release date than April 13th, which was February 22nd, 2019. Yeah.
Wow, that's a big jump. It's almost a year.
2/22/19. That's a landmark, just watershed date for that. So that also didn't happen. That didn't come out then.
That didn't
I think
work.
what happened was I think they were going to release Battle Angel Alita or Alita Battle Angel. Sorry, I read the manga. Alita Battle Angel was going to come out in Christmas 2018, but then so was everything else. And so Fox pushed that to February. That actually came out around Valentine's Day that year, and New Mutants got pushed further ahead to August 2019. Everyone, a perfect summer movie for late summer. Get the mutants together, everyone. Come on, get the whole gang together and find out what they're up to, those gifted youngsters.
Now, keep
Mark
in mind,
your
this was after Avengers Endgame, and so we had already sort of had the big release of the exhale of the biggest cinematic buildup in movie history. I think 11 years of conjoined films, interconnected narratively, and then there was this one.
Yeah, well, before this there was also Dark Phoenix, which was like, hey, remember X-Men 3? And everyone's like, wait, what? Why would you invoke that? Why would you remind us? And then New Mutants was like, but also, what if there were other mutants and it was a horror movie? And also, it's not really connected, but at the same time, everyone's like, where is this going to go? Or where's this going? And meanwhile, everyone who was in this movie is like now, 2 years older from when they originally filmed it. So August 2019. That also didn't happen. And so they were like, all right, clear your calendars. Let's make a nice springtime event out of it. It'll be the New Mutants. It's going to come out April 3rd, 2020. And as you might have noticed, that didn't happen. That was for obvious kind of reasons. But we now have our number one most recent release date that I will still believe it when I see it, which is of course August 28th. That's
That's just in a few months. So
look at that word. Look at those two words above the date. In theaters, a place where none of us have been in months.
Yeah. That's a tough call. So yeah, we'll see if that actually sticks the landing, if it actually happens. I would be amazed if that happens. I don't think that should happen. In fact, I think nothing like that should happen for a little while, which is okay. Yeah, because we're home and we're relaxing.
There's a lot of demand of like, why don't they just put this on demand? Why don't they just put this on Disney Plus or Hulu or whatever? And apparently this movie was made so long ago that there were already deals inked for like cable distribution on Fox's half that they had to hold up to. So like, I'm sure Disney's just like, can we just get this thing out of here? Can we just ship it? I mean, they've done interviews with like Maisie Williams and she's like, has that movie come out yet? Like, can it come out?
Yeah, I mean, this was supposed to come out before the final season of Game of Thrones even began airing. Like that's how long ago that is. I know all time feels relatively stretched in this day and age, but that specifically feels like a very, very long time ago. So keep an eye out for that. Potentially August 28th this year.
Maybe, who knows?
In movie theaters. In
okay.
the meantime, if you're looking for something to do at home right now, a very fun movie just came out today. It's not in theaters. It was going to be in theaters, but instead it's immediately on home video and on demand, and that's Scoob. Scoob is a movie we've been talking about, I believe, on the show for a long time, because I think we have both kind of realized that not only are we big, like, long-time old-school Scooby Doo fans, but also this is a sort of phenomenal character in terms of how many times he's crossed over with different people, which we'll get into in a minute. Like, you and I specifically interviewed Gene Simmons because of Scooby Doo, which is a weird sentence.
I was looking, we dug into this pretty hard, but do you know how many iterations of Scooby Doo there have been? Like, how many different series?
No.
There have been like 13. There have been like 13 different Scooby Doo shows. And I don't know if that's counting the live action movies or this current cinematic universe or what have you.
Yep. And so the art style of this movie is really fun. It's really gorgeous. It's out right now. And Max, to celebrate, you actually brought your real dog Peppers onto the show, which I miss him a lot.
I don't usually get to do the show with both of my best friends, but here is the furry best friend that I have. This is Peppers, who's honestly like, he's definitely more of a Scrappy than a Scooby Doo. Like, he's kind of, look at him. He looks like he's going to shut down the youth center. Yeah, he's got sort of like a natural tuxedo, but we tried to accentuate that. Just look at this little idiot. Like, he's such a little prince. He thinks he's so great. But yeah, no, the folks at Warner Brothers and Scoob sent over. We frequently get like weird care packages to promote movies and stuff. They sent one that I actually can't take full advantage of. It's just a bark box of dog stuff. So we've got some actual Scooby snacks for my little Lord Fauntleroy of a dog over here. What are you looking at? You want more of these duck snacks? Look at this. So anyway, this is I really love this. There's a whole bunch of stuff they sent me. We've got the dog cam set up here. Let me switch over to here's the dog cam. There's the dog. You can see him now.
Oh my God.
Isn't he a cute dog? Here, just
he's the
Peppers. Sit. Here you go. He's a good boy.
So
I love this because
is that a little mystery machine?
It's a little mystery machine, which is like, I don't know. This is I feel like this is vaguely problematic as far as things a dog should play with. There's it's a van, which is a thing that I'm actually very scared of him going near. A vehicle with tires in the street. But do you want to?
But what if he's bigger than the car? That's not a problem.
He dreams of that. So the thing about Pomeranians is they totally think that they are bigger than vans. He is like literally tried to fight Great Danes on the street, but now he can fight Great Danes at home. Here's a little tiny Scoob. Peppers, what do you make of this? Do you think you're? I don't think he bothers with this because it's smaller than him. What are you after?
Oh, because he only wants to fight bigger dogs, right? And
yeah, so what's in
what's in the Scooby snacks? Did you read it?
I'll eat one. These look great. I don't know if
You don't have to do
legally,
that.
there's no disclaimers or anything.
Because it's implied, Max. It's implied that adults shouldn't eat the Scooby snacks. They're
I think this is
Scoobies.
probably
They're for
healthier
dogs.
than most of what I eat. This is like wheat-free, soy-free, corn-free. It's got ducks and walnuts and apples in it and stuff. Man, this is like a whole Thanksgiving treat. I feel like the real Scooby snacks they were having on that show was just like I think they were Doritos 3Ds. Peppers, come on, hop up. There we go. There's my boy.
Here we go. So we have our resident dog is about to eat a Scooby snack live on Up at Noon. This is what it's all about, folks. It's a crazy world out there, but I just want to say we live in a good place where we can keep doing stuff like this. This is
you want to see something? You
slice
want
of
to see
preciousness that you need.
You want to see his best trick?
Yes.
Okay, Peppers. Hey. Okay. Hey. Shush. Lay down. Okay. Not that one. Peppers. No. Stick him up. Bang.
Wow.
We fake,
that is amazing.
We fake armed robberies. Yeah. Peppers.
Yeah.
Peppers.
So, Max, what's the long Scooby
worship
snack?
your dark lord. What is that? What are you doing? That's not how that works. He's actually like really amped up because it's dinner time and he's gonna start biting me any second. This is like this. Mm-hmm. This is like just a nerd's rope. Also, for the record, like we're totally not sponsored by BarkBox or anything. I just wanted to play with my dog on this dumb show that we do. Oh wow!
Yeah,
look
totally.
at this. This is like one of those. It's like
gonna...
the inanimate carbon rod from Simpsons.
He's gonna love that. It looks like a big Kit Kat.
This is bigger than he is. Like this is. This
Give
is
him a
like
shot.
this
See
is
what he
like
does.
you want to okay here Peppers. Peppers.
Let's take a look at that dog cam.
What are you gonna do?
This is like my favorite bit we've ever done.
What are you?
Yes.
Just Mike. You don't want to.
He's probably not used to eating food this big. Oh my god, he looks like he has a cigar. Max, this is the cutest thing. Yes.
Little vaudeville dog. Oh my god, you look like
amazing.
Triumph. I love it. All right, that's enough of that. You can have some. You can have a more Scooby snack. I want to see what happens.
So
if
they
I do
also.
this.
Oh, I love this.
Go in the box. Go in the box. In the box. Now I'll close the box on him and I can return him.
I love that this is just running on IGN. This is like they had the world's biggest video game website, and then COVID happens, and they're like, you know what, boys, get Scooby and the dogs out there, have some fun. Yeah.
What could go wrong?
WB also sent over a cool care package that went directly to my kid, and it is a bunch of plushies with very big heads, which I love. They're very adorable. I've never seen her like so quickly run into a box and just tear it open and just be like mine. So we have Shaggy with his funny little like scruffy mustache, and then Daphne and Fred, Thelma, and then this Scooby Doo is just like the cutest little thing and slightly different than yours. He looks like a younger version. And they also sent over some dog ears, which I will wear because I have no shame. And
you look cool, man.
Yeah, man. This is what it's all about. Yeah. So it's the best. I can't top Peppers, but it's worth a shot. But yeah, I just want to say that was very fun. I miss you and your dog, and seeing him eat like a giant foot-long dog treat that looks like a Kit Kat kind of made my day.
I'm going to make him fight that van later. It's going to be great. Look at him go. What are you doing with that, buddy? All right. So we figured we'd do a little bit of a... Isn't he a little prima donna? I should have angled this better. Look at the camera, not at me. Anyway.
You know what I love? I love that we've gone like 5 minutes, and for like the uninitiated, you haven't addressed the giant blanket that you have there.
So here's the thing. That's the only blanket I have. That's yeah. We spilled pasta sauce all over that couch, and the only thing we could find to cover it up was that blanket. So
have you thought that maybe it's easier on the eyes to just look at the pasta sauce?
it actually, the pasta sauce, it's weird. It spilled in like a really offensive shape, and I can't. It's really just, it's really bad. And you don't even want to see what's on the other side of the blanket. It's like some of the most offensive stuff you could imagine. So that's really just got there's the blanket, you know. Anyway, yeah, the shrieking.
You're insane.
So fun fact, I'm not going to whip this out on the show, but I also have that on my debit card.
Yeah.
Which is like,
I
mostly just put it on stuff to piss off my wife. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about Scooby Doo some more, because we haven't done that enough. That's, you know, it's what kids are talking about these days. So Scooby Doo, like this is a series that when I was a kid, I think I was impatient with them, because I was like, you're supposed to be detectives. Get to the bottom of the case, you idiots. Obviously there's a door there. I can see it painted on the background. And now that I've gotten older, I'm like, they're teenagers. They'll figure it out. They're making the best of it, having a good time in a van. But what always baffled me was I remember like watching new Scooby Doo movies. They'd always have like really weird celebrity cameos, and you know that was weird rerun stuff. That was like Don Knotts and like Davy Jones from the Monkees, and I never got it back then. And now that I'm old and strange, I fully appreciate it, because that's a tradition that's continued sort of through the decades of Scooby Doo. The most recent show, I don't know if you've tracked this, is called Scooby Doo and Guess Who, and it's basically just a weird vessel for like special guest stars. So I figured we could do a rundown of all of the strange appearances, not all of them, because there's way too many, but a handful of the strangest appearances of characters in the realm of Scooby Doo. You're late. We're done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can get him out of here, though. He's been a real rascal. Go on. Go eat your dinner. You've had enough Scooby snacks. We didn't solve any mysteries.
Come on.
You're a wreck.
Let's go.
You're never going to work in this town again. Go on. Go. He specifically doesn't want to be on camera. Anyway, she's got cheese, which he wants much more. Okay, there we go.
Come on.
Go. Okay, anyway. Sorry. As I was saying, before I was so rudely interrupted, so let's talk about some of the weird celebrity guest stars who've made appearances on Scooby-Doo over these many eons, starting with Batman. Yeah, yes. It's that guy who he puts on a dark costume and beats criminals in the night because his parents were murdered in front of his eyes. And so I love this sort of weird dichotomy here. I actually initially had the cover of The Dark Knight Returns, where he's just like broken and bloody, and then it's like, oh yeah, here he is with the gang. It's like so wholesome, so nice.
I remember watching this episode as about as well as I remember watching the Harlem Globetrotters episode, which we didn't put in here because I think most people don't know who they are. But yeah, it's totally notable that this is not only Batman in his original like TV costume, but also sort of the Cesar Romero Joker and the Penguin, and like this was a whole rogues gallery basically showed up to mess with these teenagers or help them.
They've continued this history. Like they've had Kevin Conroy on there as Batman a bunch. So it's great. So Batman's an obvious one. Harley Quinn, a little bit less obvious, but she has appeared in some of the recent Scooby-Doo comics where like I guess terrorizing them. But I think it's funny because so often they're like, who could be at the bottom of this? It's some masked criminal. And it's just like, she's a masked criminal, but she's like not even trying to hide it. She's like, yeah, I killed all those people. It was me. Ha ha. I don't know. I really want to see like a live action version of this. I want to see like the Scooby-Doo movie where they're hanging out with like, Christian Bale or I guess Robert Pattinson at this point. But anyway, This is one of my favorites, Kiss. We got to interview Gene Simmons and, some other members of Kiss, predominantly Gene Simmons. He likes to really just own the conversation. But we got to talk to him about hanging out with Scoob and the gang, and that was one of the stranger experiences of my life.
Yeah, the funny thing about that interview is that he refused to take his sunglasses off, and so you and I just reached into our pockets and took our sunglasses out, and we wore sunglasses for the whole interview, and we're like, yeah, well, take that, Kiss.
My favorite thing was I did so much research ahead of that interview. Like I did like so much like deep dive stuff, and I was like, we're joined now by Kiss, the everyone's favorite Psycho Circus from the 70s. And this isn't the first time they've teamed up with Scoob and the gang. That first happened on What's New Scooby Doo back in 2003. And Gene Simmons' eyebrows just over his sunglasses were just visibly like, and he kind of gave me a chance after that. It was nice. I don't know.
I remember specifically the big question I had for him was like the gang always splits up and Scooby and Shaggy go down in the basement and make big hamburgers and they fight the ghosts. But then Fred always goes upstairs with the ladies and they really don't get into much trouble at all. Which team are you going with? And he was like, I'm going with Fred and the ladies. And we're like, all right, Gene Simmons. Good talk.
I could have told you that, man. So more recently, John Cena. This might be difficult to see. I realize it's just two blank squares next to each other with Scooby and Shag there, but just take my word for it. These are pictures of John Cena. I know it's very hard to make them out, but this feels like really too natural, you know? Like it just kind of works. Like I feel like the WWE is like very close to what
he's a very muscular man. And they gave him more muscles than he has in real life. When he has more muscles in real life than I will ever have, but they drew even more than that.
This looks like a before and after like diet photo. It's like, yeah, before I became a cartoon, I didn't like how I looked. It's like
real life, anyway, not even once.
This is my favorite. This is a classic one. Obviously, Sonny and Cher were on a bunch back in the day. I feel like I've seen this episode a bunch of times. I had no idea who Sonny and Cher were. I knew them as the song that plays repeatedly in Groundhog Day. And then Sonny Bono died tragically in a skiing accident. And then Cher has like miraculously stayed around, if anything, become more prevalent because she tweets like a crazy person. So like she just like loves to use all these emoji. And I think like if you went back in time and tried to explain to me, like as a young boy watching this, that I'm not understanding it then, and you just added those layers to it, I'd have so many more questions. So yeah. This one I have a lot of questions about. There was one called, it was Scooby Doo and the Gourmet Ghost, and it featured Giada De Laurentiis and Bobby Flay from the Food Network.
Okay, so I really appreciate that because these dudes, as I said before, are constantly making their own food. But it's like, it's kind of stoner food, you know, like they whip together whatever they can find in a haunted house kitchen basement. And so to get to work with professional chefs, and for Scooby Doo to do this iconic dog move of stealing the big sausage rope, you know, the big tube of links away from the chef. That's one of the most beautiful moments. That's one of the greatest things a dog can aspire to do is to steal sausage from a chef and run away. So I'm glad he nailed it.
You know about this, but my best man for my bachelor party was trying to find he was trying to stage that with my dog. Like he was trying to find like a butcher shop or like a trained like actor to be a butcher and chase my dog down the street, and then with the salami in it, or even just like a show dog. I don't even know. I just want to see that once.
I've never seen the chef side of it, but I was leaving a movie on Market Street in San Francisco, and I was ready to cross the street by the Target there, and a dog, like a stray dog, went running 100 miles an hour down the street with a salami in his mouth, and it was one of the best things I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's magic.
Who else was on Scooby Doo?
Ron Perlman's been on Scooby Doo a bunch of times. He played Hotep the Mummy. He played this is like the ice. I forgot. I should have written this down. And then there was another one that was like called like Captain Skunkbeard. So he's been like a Scooby Doo villain several times, and honestly, it makes me kind of wonder: like, is Ron Perlman actually a Scooby Doo villain?
That like, checks out. He ever did? I mean,
do you think he ever did crimes in the Hellboy makeup? And then like somebody took it off, and it was like, it was Ron Perlman. He was like, yeah, I know, it was me. I would have gotten away with it too.
I think Ron Perlman's done crimes in every costume and outfit he's ever been in, including when he was a baby. I think he probably robbed banks. Yeah, Ron Perlman kind of looks like he has like 7 masks on at any given moment. So who knows?
This is a weird one. Jenny McCarthy played Velma's cousin, which was I don't know. I have complicated feelings about her currently given her stance on vaccinations, but this is just like a weird like, okay, so she's Velma's. Okay, she's related to Velma. That I don't get it. What was that phone call like? How did they line that one up?
Yeah, that's an odd family tree.
This is one of the newer ones. Ricky Gervais, who proceeds to piss off 85% of Hollywood every time he gives a speech at the Golden Globes. He hung out with them, which is just like, I don't know. Were they on an elevator together? I want to see this. I want to find out what happened there.
I really like the way they drew his goatee.
Yeah, that looks like the old Clerks cartoon. I'm into that. That's a good
I dig
bit.
That.
This is pitch perfect. When I was saying like I'd watch the old new Scooby Doo movies and I'd be like, who are all these strange old people from 30 years ago? And now seeing like Weird Al Yankovic in there, I'm like, I get it. that was the kind of that they were trying to appeal to people like me now, but back then, like I feel like I don't know what kids think of Weird Al Yankovic, but I feel like his appeal to 8-year-olds is a waned compared to where it was when it was in 1995. So, speaking of which, Steve Urkel also made an appearance as Jaleel White reprised the role. Yeah, right. That's bizarre. It's nuts. The weirdest one of all, without question. Back in the day, Jodie Foster played the voice of Pugsley Addams in the Addams Family cartoon. So if you watch the old episode of Scooby Doo where they're hanging out with the Addams Family, that's Jodie Foster. That's the woman who caught Buffalo Bill. That's Contact, my friend. She was.
That's amazing.
Like, and also, yeah, right. Anyway,
God, that is phenomenal. So Scoob is out today on video on demand. It's on every streaming platform. You can rent it, you can buy it, whatever you need to do. You can also follow the Scoob Twitter account. That's @Scoob, and they are basically doing like a digital red carpet watch party right now at the hashtag Scoob Movie Night. So go check that out. I'm going to watch the movie tonight because there's nowhere else to go, and it looks fun. And I just want to sit on the couch and kind of watch some comfort food of a cartoon dog and his goofy friends get into all sorts of zany antics and such and whatnot. So yeah,
I'm into it.
We did it. I'm into it too. Mandalorian season 2 is a show I'm very, very excited for. We got the first season last year, wrapped up just around the sort of end of the Skywalker saga. I will say that it definitely stuck the landing a lot better than that did, and hot off the Clone Wars, which is very beloved. I'm really excited to see what they do with season 2. I'm also as I said before, home with not a lot going on, and so I'm thinking about rewatching the show. It's a brisk rewatch. It's 8 hours long, and or not even, right? It's each episode's like 40 something minutes, right?
They jump around a little bit,
and
it's not too long.
Yeah, and so one of my favorite things about The Mandalorian was the sort of like action figure toy box approach to it, which was taking a bunch of stuff from the Star Wars universe that I love and throwing it all together, and then mixing it with a bunch of incredible directors and actors. And some of that worked and some of it didn't, and it was a little rough around the edges, but I'm really confident that season 2 is going to get crazier and crazier. It's still a ways off. I believe it's not going to hit until this fall, but we've been getting little teases about it for a while. Some casting, some rumors for casting, some completely insane sort of hearsay that like is so good it might be true. So here's 10 awesome things rumored and teased for The Mandalorian season 2. We can't actually state that all of these things are going to happen, but a lot of them are rumors right now, and I think talking about Star Wars rumors is really fun. And this is a show that's brought together a lot of really talented people and a lot of weird aliens. So let's get right into it.
You put all these slides together. There's like 3 things on here where I was like, wait, what? So anyway, here we are. You know who's going to be in The Mandalorian season 2? The Mandalorian, obviously.
That's right. Pedro Pascal will obviously return, but we got sort of rumors recently that Rosario Dawson is going to play as Ahsoka Tano, which is kind of insane to me because we've never seen that character in live action. I won't get into Clone Wars spoilers, but she's one of the characters that's sort of dangling threads left in the universe between the era of all the Star Wars things that canonically have happened. And so, as you know, Mandalorian takes place just a few years after Return of the Jedi and a long time before stuff like The Force Awakens and, Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi, stuff like that. And so there's a lot of room to play with there. Rosario Dawson is an amazing actress. She has been kicking ass in movies for what feels like decades now. She's done stuff with Star Trek before, and in an interview said that it would she'd basically just retire if she could do Star Wars and Star Trek. She has not actually confirmed that this is happening, but I feel like just looking at these characters, it feels pretty spot on.
Yeah, I hope this is true. I'm into it. I like it seems like just really, really fitting casting, and also like it seems like if it were to become true, again, this is like totally, this could be complete hogwash, but I feel like it's going to be like a brief moment. It's not going to be like a super major role, which is good because I like the idea of seeing like an older Ahsoka Tano and just sort of, she she pops up and she's sort of, like let her carry that weight.
Yeah,
This one
me
just
too. I
popped
think
up
what's
today.
cool about that. Yeah, this just popped up today. This is the Hollywood Reporter. Timothy Oliphant from Justified, Deadwood, Hitman, Agent 47. That movie I put on the right. I put these two pictures here because we don't know who he's going to be playing. I have no idea. If you look at the first season, characters like Bill Burr showed up and just sort of played like one-off bounty hunter type dudes. Timothy Oliphant is an amazing actor, and I put both these pictures here because I want to show you not only the range of his characters but also the range of who he could play. And there's a lot of bald people in Star Wars, and there's a lot of sort of like gruff cowboy looking dudes too.
He can play a guy wearing a hat. He could play a bald guy who's facing you, or a bald guy who's turned around. He's very versatile. It's really, there's a lot he could do there. This is huge. I'm excited about this.
Yes.
Robert Rodriguez, who did a lot of different films. He did, Desperado, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Alita, Battle Angel, obviously, Sin City. He's like, I love. He's got like a very yeah. He's got like a very do-it-yourself attitude to filmmaking. Literally wrote a book on it. And he's just, I want to see what he does. Like he's definitely like, he comes from the sort of school of Lucas of like, get your hands dirty and get weird, get experimental. Like the Spy Kids films are incredibly strange, but like he was totally trying new stuff and wasn't afraid to sort of get weird. And I'm dying to see what he does with sort of a Mandalorian budget and to play around in that sandbox.
Yeah, I mean, most recently he worked on Alita. This is 100% confirmed, by the way. This is happening. This is not photoshopped. He took this picture with Baby Yoda. He's actually directing an episode. He's a phenomenal action director, and I think he gets weird sci-fi. So this is a really good fit.
This weird, what?
Yeah, so this is confirmed too, and this is one of those things that like most people don't care about, but you and I lost. We lost it when Jon Favreau put this picture up. So this is he put up this sort of maquette of a Gamorrean guard, which I believe will now be confirmed to appear in season 2. What's interesting about that is it's got way less clothes on than the ones you see here. It almost seems like he was a prisoner or something like that was escaped. But B, we have only seen Gamorrean guards in live action in Return of the Jedi as the guards to Jabba's palace, along with Bib Fortuna and Jabba the Hutt himself. And so this makes me think not only are we going to get Gamorrean guards, but Gamorrean guards canonically is the only way we've seen them in film guard Hutts. And I love Hutts, and we don't get to see live action Hutts. And the Mandalorian's a great place for a live action Hutt because Hutts work with bounty hunters all the time. And so hopefully this weird half naked big man is guarding a Hutt, and we get to see a new Hutt on Mando season 2.
I like that you put this in the middle of the list. Like you were like, God, we can get back to the casting, but first let's talk about this half nude man.
This is important to me.
Katie Sackhoff, I think you spelled her name wrong there.
Did I?
Yeah, she voiced Bo-Katan from the Clone Wars. We saw a fair amount of flashbacks in the first season. I feel like we're going to see a lot more of those this time around. I guess I don't know. Like they're definitely dipping into sort of Mandalorian lore. I hate saying that's annoying. Like but the sort of the history of the Mandalorian people.
Yeah,
but also again, like,
Sackhoff,
it would have been. Yeah, this is one of those ones. If it's true, cool, I guess. But also, I wish that they'd kept it a secret. Like they kept Baby Yoda such a perfect secret, and so for a few more of these, it's one of those things where it's like, well, why'd you have to? Like, why are we hearing this now? This is like keep it in the wraps, guys.
No, totally. I mean, the recent season of Clone Wars tackled the sort of Siege of Mandalore. Katie Sackhoff's done live action sci-fi stuff with Battlestar Galactica, so it's a good fit. Tamura Morrison, we talked about this a little bit last week. This is a huge one. Again, this is a rumor. This is not confirmed, but this spread like wildfire, and it feels right. The interesting thing about this, as a lot of people pointed out on social media, is it could go either way. He could play Boba Fett, who we saw sort of like the feat of a sort of Mandalorian-style character on Tatooine in the first season with the sort of signature chain rattling noises. But as you know, based on the clones, Tamura Morrison is actually the sort of blueprint for every single clone in Star Wars who went on to be the Stormtroopers, notably Captain Rex, who is one of the more iconic clones, or most iconic clones on Clone Wars. And Dave Filoni worked on Clone Wars, obviously, and it seems like those shows, there's going to be a lot of crossover with those shows. So this could go either way.
I hope they do a multiplicity thing, and they just have Tamora Morrison playing like 8 different elderly clones that are all like hanging out in the same house.
I mean, that would be amazing if they're just like in a hut on Tatooine. I'm totally into that.
I don't know. I really hope that it's something more complicated than him just being Boba Fett. If it is him, I'm cool with that. But also, like, it just seems like you couldn't have kept that a secret too. Like you kept Baby Yoda all wrapped up, and you didn't let that spoil a tiny thing. And everyone wanted Baby Yoda things for Christmas. And they're like, they'll be ready in April. And it's like, what? If they're like, oh, just kidding, it's not the Boba Fett show, but Boba Fett's in it for season 2, surprise. But it gets leaked like this, I will be so cross.
Well, the good news is that people won't have to wait 6 months for toys because most of them are on your desk.
Was that a bird?
Peyton
I don't even
Reed,
know what to do with that.
No, it means they've made 1 billion Boba Fett toys, and if people want them, they're already out there. It's not like Baby Yoda. You remember all the bootleg Baby Yodas people made?
Yeah, I got one in my closet. I can go get it. Where's that thing? Hold on.
In the meantime, Peyton Reed is the formerly directed Ant-Man and the Wasp, is currently directing Ant-Man 3. Peyton Reed is on board to direct an episode of The Mandalorian. Again, we don't really know what that looks like yet, but he's a phenomenal director. That is terrifying. That's Teen Yoda from IGN's Mandalorian Season 2 fake trailer that we put on 420. God, that's great. Does your whole head fit in there?
Hold on. Short answer, no. Long answer, I like this as a hat.
That is a good hat. Joe Cartwright on the YouTube chat says the Baby Yoda Black series is like an inch tall. It finally arrived. I was reading the reviews for that, by the way, not to take a tangent, but a lot of people saw a 6-inch scale Black series and thought they were getting a 6-inch Baby Yoda, which would have been weird because the Mandalorian toy is 6 inches tall, which means that if you got both those toys, they'd be the same height, which is not a baby. But instead, they got a Baby Yoda that's an inch tall, which is to scale with a 6-inch Mandalorian figure. And people are disappointed that he's extremely tiny. But I kind of want one now because, like, that's the scale. So anyway, Peyton Reed's directing an episode. There was also a rumor that Carl Weathers is directing an episode. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, let's move along.
Sure. This is like a perfect fit. Michael Biehn, like I've always said this, but the thing I love about The Mandalorian is it feels like it's set 6 years after Return of the Jedi. It feels like it was made in 1988 or 89, like based on some of the casting. Like Carl Weathers in there. Pedro Pascal seems like if he'd been, acting 30 years earlier, he would have been on Miami Vice doing something. Like, I mean, he was on Narcos, which is sort of same difference, but this just seems like, let's get Michael Biehn in there. He's going to be like a grizzled bounty hunter he's going to sound like Kyle Reese. I love it. It's going to be great. Yeah.
I love that. So, you all know Michael Biehn from Terminator. He's a perfect fit. This is another rumor that was kicking around, and this was spun out by sort of like wrestling insiders. So apparently Sasha Banks had and I'll probably butcher this because I don't watch wrestling, but apparently she had an arc where she was injured by someone and basically had to sit out for a couple years, and that was like a narrative storyline they wove in there. But there are rumors that she was taking that time to film her stuff on set of The Mandalorian Season 2. Cara Dune obviously is a big, tough woman, and so we don't know a ton about her backstory, where she's from, who her people are, and all that. So the rumor here is that these two characters are connected in some way, and maybe that they're, like sort of like hyper strong female warriors that travel the galaxy kicking butt. And so... yeah, we'll see if that happens. That would be super cool too.
I hadn't heard this one. That's fascinating. I also hadn't heard this one. What the hell?
Yeah, so Ray Park tweeted out this Sith symbol with the quote, "This is the way." Ray Park also played Darth Maul, as you all know. I hadn't actually seen that symbol before, but digging around, it's like fairly popular, and I guess it's been tattooed on quite a few people. And so this could mean anything. I don't want to get into Clone Wars spoilers, but Ray Park could potentially play a number of characters. Like, he's a phenomenal athletic stuntman. He's pretty much kick ass at anything you throw him at. If you look at this picture of him here and you Google a picture of him, they're unrecognizable, obviously. Like, so you can put this guy in any costume, make him play anybody. But this feels specifically like a teaser. Like, this is him saying this is the way. And I really, really feel like this guy's going to show up. Filoni loves this guy. It feels right. Like, there's something here. We'll see, though.
All right.
Yeah. And finally, two things we know are confirmed: Baby Yoda versus the Darksaber. Maybe not exactly like that, but close enough. I was rewatching Clone Wars recently, and I saw there's a character on that show who has the Darksaber. I want to send you that episode, Max, because the animation on the way they do that is like one of my favorite things I've ever seen, like in TV animation, period. And we saw this Gideon dude basically pop out of this crashed TIE fighter at the end of the
It's like the Mandalorians made it as the only. It's like a black lightsaber, basically.
Yeah. And it's awesome. It's like completely dark. It's like it's kind of glowing around the edges, and like, to me, this is setting up a whole bunch of cool stuff. But the sort of like galaxy hopping nature of the show means it can go anywhere, do anything, and bring in anyone. And I absolutely love it for that. So yeah, let us know what you want to see in Mando season 2. Let us know if there's any rumors we missed. I'm sure there's a bunch of them because it's crazy right now. And a cool thing that I'll footnote this with is the people working on that show said that it's not delayed. They're able to continue working on it. So it seems like most of that show was shot, and they're kind of in post. And so while everything else on Earth is delayed right now, maybe we're going to get this season on time. And I'm really excited for that because I want more live action Star Wars this year.
I'm very into it. Hold on just one second. There we go. There he is. Oh, he's so beautiful. There's that man. All right. So you mentioned Star Wars Black Series. Hasbro's been doing a lot of wonderful stuff in sort of 6-inch scale. You got the Marvel Legends for Marvel. You got the Star Wars Black Series. If you're a Power Rangers fan, the Lightning Collection is... Autofocus is the best thing for what you're into, probably. You probably already knew this. Just focus on Goldar. Go to Goldar. Show the gold. There it is.
There he is.
There's that terrifying winged tarantula Mayan god, whatever. I don't even know what Goldar is supposed to be. I am by far an extremely casual Power Rangers fan. I appreciate the aesthetics of the weird early 90s show, and that's why it makes me incredibly happy when Hasbro goes ahead and announces stuff like this 2-pack of Alpha 5 and Zordon, which is going to be a Walmart exclusive. They just announced this today. I think it's $30. It's so stupid. I have to have it. Just look
incredible.
Like, Zordon sculpted is just the worst. He just looks like Kingpin.
Who is that?
I don't know who's I don't know like who they went to for Zordon, but good. I mean, they also there's look at the articulation on Alpha 5.
It looks like Brian Dennehy.
Right? Yeah.
Who
also,
is
like that live action movie was like, oh, there's Alexio. There's our producer, Alexio. Oh, he went away. I love it. Yeah,
Alexio. Can you please come back? We want to see you.
Come back.
He's very shy.
Show yourself.
You're an infinitely more handsome version than the toy, which is this weird Brian Dennehy looking dude, looking like Chris Farley, man.
That movie that came out a few years ago, where he was played by Bryan Cranston, was like, I feel we both love that movie, and it's got problems, but it's also fun as hell.
Here's the thing, Max. I'm convinced that day never happened because I feel like you and I saw that movie. And we really enjoyed it, and we left, and then no one ever talked about that film again, and they canceled the sequel, and it just disappeared. Like, I think we imagined that film. If you're in the comments, let us know if we imagined that Power Rangers movie, or if you're part of our shared universe.
I think they showed us a really good version that was a secret, because I watched it again with my wife, and she got mad at me afterwards. She's like, no, why'd you make me watch this movie? But anyway... Anyway, they also announced that they're doing. Oh, hey, yeah, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. There's a witch who lives on the moon, and she comes out of the sewer because she was locked up there, and she's got all these idiots who hang out with her, like Goldar and then the Finster. That dude who makes the putties is called Finkster or something. And then this man in a tube has to abduct teenagers who are all in their 30s but hang out at a juice bar for children and do taekwondo. What in the hell was this show? Why did this ever get made? I love it. If you haven't already seen it, go watch the Toys That Made Us episode on Power Rangers because it's phenomenal. It's more phenomenal.
Really no, if you walked into a room in 2020 and you're like, all right, here's the deal. So there's a bunch of 30-year-olds that hang out at a juice bar, and then they go out in the yard of the high school, and in the high school is footage from a Japanese show from 15 years prior, and they do fights.
Like,
could you imagine someone being like,
he made like millions of dollars on like an early version of YouTube poop. Like, he's like, yeah, we'll take the things that are out there, we'll remix them. The Putty Patrol, for instance, I think these toys have been kicking around for a minute. They're doing a 2-pack. I'm gonna drink a few more beers and probably pre-order these. They're supposed to come out this fall. I think these are up on HasbroPulse.com. I as a child hated the putties because they were kind of scary but also kind of stupid, and they went like, and then they'd punch them in the chest and they'd explode, and it was like, are they threatening or like what's the story there? They're so, what is that?
Yeah, are they? They're like little. They're like baby Clayface.
They're made. That dude who looks like Falcor from the Neverending Story makes them in like a vat and then shoots them through a telescope at Earth, and they have to fight the juice bar teenagers. Like, what is Power Rangers, man?
What was that show?
It was a lot, but yeah, I hope they make the. There was an episode, like, I love the full circle of Bryan Cranston and his attachment to that, where he played the eyeball monster in the original series. Or he like voiced it, and then later on he played Zordon. So I don't know. I hope they make that, and then I don't know, Zordon or Goldar.
There he is. He's a good one. We got some news this week. A totally random surprise trailer for the new Paper Mario game, Paper Mario and the Origami King, and which I immediately thought was Paper Mario and the Origami Killer, and it got me thinking.
Okay,
about
you
Heavy
too.
Rain. Yeah.
No, I've typed that 4 times looking for pictures from that freaking game.
Origami, the Origami Killer. So yeah, this is it. This is Paper Mario and the Origami King, coming to Switch on July 17th, the same day as Ghost of Tsushima, which we also got a new thing for yesterday. Yesterday was a weird dedication celebration of July 17th. I'm really happy this game's being made. It's a nice surprise. I think a lot of people were wondering what's next after Animal Crossing in terms of like big first party games coming to Nintendo Switch from Nintendo themselves. It's been a long time since we've had a Paper Mario game. This feels, to me, looking at it, like it's going back to the roots of sort of the N64 GameCube versions, stuff like, Paper Mario 64, Thousand Year Door. Feels a little bit less like Super Paper Mario and Sticker Star and stuff like that. There's always a series that I think has always been sort of in like there's been like 1 or 2 games that has been like a 9 out of 10, and the rest has been kind of like a 6 out of 10. But either way, what I like about Paper Mario is that it's kind of like a low effort RPG that you can beat in 10 or 15 hours. It's kind of like South Park's Stick of Truth without the farts. And it's also something that sort of holds you over between the 2D Marios and the 3D Marios. And it's something you can crush through in a weekend without having to spend like 90 hours on some massive epic JRPG. And so a thing that I've wanted for a really long time, and I was digging around and found out was a sort of vague reality, is a Paper Zelda. Nintendo's never really applied this sort of treatment to the Zelda franchise. We've gotten Wind Waker, which obviously is painterly, and Skyward Sword. The Wind Waker's cell-shaded, and every single Zelda game sort of has its own aesthetic. Toon Link is literally like this sort of hand-drawn version of Link. And
there was Link Between Worlds where he became a chalk drawing on a wall.
Yeah. Exactly, which is about as close as we've come to the Paper Mario aesthetic of sort of having a 2D flat character who can flip like that. And so I found out that just last month, a YouTube channel called 64 Bits put together a trailer for their pitch for Paper Zelda, and here it is. I don't think we've talked about this on IGN yet, and I just want to give some love to 64 Bits because this is phenomenal. So this is a full-on fake sort of trailer demo thing for their pitch for a Paper Zelda. This is just this is a love letter from fans basically. So there's a little bit of Skyward Sword, a little bit of Ocarina of Time. It's got the sort of Paper Mario aesthetic to it, and this is the sort of exact top-down overworld from Zelda 2. I don't know what scenario he'd be fighting hundreds of chickens, but I love it because it retains a sense of humor. There's some Minish Cap. And then Link Between Worlds, and like Breath of the Wild, Majora's Mask. It's basically this 64-bit is basically showing us that anything that you do in Zelda can translate to the Paper Mario or Paper Zelda aesthetic, right down to getting the Master Sword, fighting a giant spider, fighting Ganon. I love this so much. I really, really wish this would happen. Here's even the jousting from Twilight Princess that you saw in Smash Brothers. The ending of Wind Waker. This is perfect. Like this, they call this a parody. To me, a parody is like, I feel like that's not giving this enough justice.
No, that's for legal reasons. They don't want to get Nintendo to sue them and burn their house down.
Totally. But yeah, this is like one of my favorite sort of like fan tributes that I've ever seen on YouTube. The art direction is spot on. I can completely see this running on Switch. Yeah, let's take a look again real quick. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And so I think that the thing that could really work about this is that the Paper Mario series has infused RPG elements into a franchise that's predominantly a 2D platformer. And the Zelda franchise has had mild RPG elements here and there for a long time. Notably, Zelda 2, Breath of the Wild, and a few others have kind of added those things. And so I really like the idea of like sort of a 10, 15 hour long Zelda game with mild RPG aesthetics and elements that can kind of hold us over between Breath of the Wild 2, Link's Awakening remake, all that fun stuff. So yeah, man, I want this game to happen.
So hold on. So you got Paper Mario, you got Yoshi's Woolly World, you've got Kirby's fiberglass hellhole or whatever. Like what is it? What is it called? Like Kirby gets made out of clay or so. What does he get made out of?
He's been clay. He's been yarn, string. I
think you could argue that the Link's Awakening remake is meant to look like miniatures, like toys. And I love that there's this Nintendo does this thing of like taking their beloved franchises and kind of like breaking them out and making like almost little spin-offs that are made of a different it's like a different medium. I'm trying to think what if they did like Metroid, but it's all food? What if it's like food Metroid?
I mean, that would be
Super
gross as hell. Yeah, I actually really love that. Or if you did a Metroid game that was all sort of miniatures, but like in a sort of a horror style, like I'm trying to think of like a good sci-fi horror that would translate to that aesthetic in that universe. But yeah, something with Metroid is. I mean, look, man, I will take any Metroid game at this point. I'll take a Paper Metroid, a Giger Metroid, whatever we can get.
Giger Metroid, I'll take it all. That sounds like fun.
That's
all
right.
So moving on. Speaking of like little miniatures and whatnot, something that we talk about sometimes is Harry Potter, and we only talk about it sometimes because you watched the first Harry Potter movie pretty drunk, and the rest of Harry Potter is a strange thing you don't understand. You tweeted first thing this morning that like you've kind of accepted the fact that like the world of Harry Potter is something you're never going to get into, which you're not. It's not a thing you're ever going to give a shot, which I think is patently false because you have a 2-year-old daughter, which is a ticking time bomb of a Harry Potter fan waiting to happen. That's a timeless series. True. You might get into Harry Potter by force, but in the meantime, I would like to exploit your ignorance for the entertainment of our audience by showing you a series of Harry Potter Lego sets, and I want you to explain what you think is happening in these Lego sets. Are you ready for this? I'm so excited. What's happening right here? What are these people doing?
Oh my God. Okay. Well, there was a huge accident in Palpatine's shithouse. And so he rolled it out to the street. And he said that the only way to clean up is if you boys make a menagerie of ice sculptures that I could then use to melt down and clean out all the shit in my shithouse.
You're weirdly not that far off.
What?
For anybody watching at home, this is a playset based on the scene where what is it? It's Dumbledore's army. There's Harry and there's Ginny and there's Luna, and they're learning to make Patronuses by practicing on that dummy so they can fight off the Dementors. That's kind of like making ice sculptures to keep Palpatine from yelling at you.
Okay.
Who are all these people? What's going on here?
Oh my God. Okay, so there was a hit and run outside of this ice cream shop, and so a lot of the police are joined together with some of the local townies to figure out exactly what the accident was. But what people don't really understand is that no one was driving the car. The car is sentient, and it killed someone without it actually having a driver.
Oh my God, you're not that far off.
What are you talking about?
That's the Ford Prefect that Harry and Ron jump into to go in Chamber of Secrets. That's the crazy car. It's illegal. They shouldn't have that car, and it winds up. It's like a weird contraband car.
Wait, there's a sentient car that hits people.
It's not sentient. It's magic. What's up with this? What's up with this arson? Here, let me enhance there.
Okay. All right. So these 8 friends and 3 animals decided to do a hate crime by burning down this giant old tower that was full of food, and they decided at the last second that the fire was too heavy to carry over, so they left it there, and then they're slowly walking away so that no one knows that they were any part of it.
Once again, you're like pretty close.
What do you mean?
Is a hate crime. This is the Burrow, and the Death Eaters show up. If you had to guess which of these minifigs is married in real life to Johnny Depp, can you pick which one?
Oh, it's definitely got to be one of the people wearing all black or the owl.
Fair point. All right. So what's up? What's happening
Don't
here?
show me this picture. What is this horrible?
What's happening here? If you had to look at this picture and tell me who is the bad guy here.
So this is when you first proposed to your fiance, she said, "What would your dream wedding be?" And you said, "Here's the thing, it's me and my same height, and you and your same height, pictured right next to her, next to you in purple, go together, and we go to climb to the top of a large tree to make love while centaurs eat fried chicken with children at the base of the tree. That would be my perfect wedding." And then she was like, "We can't afford that. Let's do something a little more practical." But that's totally you in that picture.
Okay, if you had to guess which of the characters depicted with minifigs in this image do you think is the most racist?
Oh, definitely the middle centaur.
What do you mean the middle centaur? There's 2 of them. All right, what's going on here?
What? It's just an owl. What the hell is? What do you mean? What's going on here?
What's going on here?
This owl is delivering a letter to Harry Potter to congratulate him on getting laid for the first time.
All right. Fair enough. That's fair. I mean, that's what they do in that universe, I guess. Yeah, I would give you, in terms of how much you I would say you got that. You passed. You got a like a 72% there. It's passing just barely.
I will take a.
Teacher, but
I will take a C- on never seen Harry Potter. I actually feel I don't need to see it now that I've been so good at guessing.
I like to think that, I don't know, like a decade and a half from now, you'll be, reading the sixth Harry Potter book out loud. Probably not a decade and a half. She'll be doing other stuff, but at some point you'll be reading one of these late books to your child, and you'll be engrossed in it, and you'll turn a page, and you'll go, "That was that Lego set Max showed me on the show."
You never told me who was the most racist person in that picture.
Oh, easy. It's the woman in pink. Here, let me pull it up.
Not the
again.
centaur?
It's this. No, the centaurs are. They're not really. They're pissed off with good reason, but no, it's Dolores Umbridge. It's the woman in the pantsuit here. Dolores Umbridge is one of the most evil characters I've ever encountered in all of fiction. Like whenever there's one of those like Reddit threads, it's like, "Hey, who's the fictional character you hated the most?" I always like scroll down because it's like Dolores Umbridge is usually like at the very most like five down. Because people don't read books,
Are you cross with me that I compared her to your wife in that picture, and then I said that you were the giant naked hairy man with the belly button?
No, that makes sense. That checks out. I had like when I got married, we had to pull out a small stool. You were there. You know what happened?
Yeah.
She had to stand on the stool. Everyone loved that. It was funny. We still have that stool. My wife uses it to get things off the shelves in the kitchen. Do we have anything else to talk about?
You still have? No, it's 6
let me talk about my matrimonial
the
stool.
The day is over. The show is over. The weekend is here. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this matrimonial stool between two friends who are trying to do their best and put on a show every week. If you love Harry Potter, I'm sorry I got all of it wrong. That's not my intention. I just don't know anything about it. And I'm not going to change that. I refuse to. Thank you to Alexio, our producer, for keeping the show going. Thank you to all the fine folks at IGN. We made tons of shows this week. 2 episodes of MVC, 2 episodes of Podcast Beyond. We did news, games, and more every single day this week from 4 to 5 p.m. Live. Just tons and tons of content. And next week's going to be even crazier. We have even more coming. So stick around. And in the meantime, Max, thank you so much. And to everyone who watched on YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, and everywhere else. And to Teen Yoda, who's headless and hanging out. Gross little man. Thank you. And have a wonderful weekend. It's really, really bad. Hey, and if you're going out and about, stay safe, wear a mask, be like Mario. Take care of yourself.